I learned a lot. And I learned that, I learned a lot. Anyway, Bo is associated here. Anyway, the point I want to make is, I learned so much. I learned
black, white, all colors, all backgrounds, what I mean.
Come on, man.
Men, women, gay, straight, everyone deserves a shot, you know.
Come on, man. You know the thing.
You know what I mean?
You know the thing.
You know what I mean?
Come on, man.
What I have to do is I have to continue talking about the things that
Come on, man. I came down here because I remember the first bumper sticker I saw. I learned that I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight and then watch the hair come back up again. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. I love kids jumping on my lap.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
What are we, nuts? Dead.
You know.
Come on, man. Give me a little break here. Get a life. Taking cocaine or not? What do you think? Huh? Come on, man.
Black, white, all colors, all backgrounds, what I mean.
Come on, man.
Men, women, gay, straight, everyone deserves a shot, you know.
Come on, man. You know the thing.
You know what I mean?
You know the thing.
You know what I mean?
Come on, man. You have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black. Come on, man. The Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
I can hardly wait to meet with that guy who is the stable genius.
Come on, man. I am very willing to let the public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness. Come on, man. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids. Come on, man. I mean, come on. Take a look at the record.
I know a lot of weed smokers.
Come on, man.
Black, white, all colors, all backgrounds, what I mean.
Come on, man.
Men, women, gay, straight, everyone deserves a shot, you know.
Come on, man. You know the thing.
You know what I mean?
You know the thing.
You know what I mean?
Come on, man. Why the hell would I take a test? I am, come on, man.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Spike, Run the Jew, Wolves, Cohen, I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom.
I like that one very much. Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And if you are watching this, whatever you're watching this on, be sure to follow it or like it or subscribe to it if you haven't already. And if this is on YouTube, be sure to hit that bell. In fact, if you're not watching this on YouTube live, go ahead and watch it on YouTube live or on Float Live. Those are the best ways, float.app/muddywatersmedia or youtube.com/muddywatersmedia. That's the best quality to get. You can do Facebook if you really want to, but YouTube and Float are way better. So go join us on there. Be sure to hit the bell on YouTube so you don't miss out on a single muddied event on the internet on YouTube. Give the gift of Muddy Waters today. Kids love it.
First and foremost, allow me to thank the fine people at knockemalathome.com. That is knockemalathome.com for the Kava that I am drinking today, made with these hands earlier today.
Nice. And allow me to thank the Kroger at the store, purified drinking water that I got at the store, Bulavanaka. This episode, as always, is brought to you by the Libertarian Dad Bod calendar, featuring some of the sexiest, featuring me and also 11 other men who did things similar to this. LibertarianDadBod.com, $12 including shipping. You can get one today, or if you want one signed by me, it's $30 including shipping. LibertarianDadBod.com. This episode is brought to you by the Waffle House Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus, the fastest growing caucus that is related to waffles in history. And be sure to join our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/LPWHC. This episode was brought to you by Black Coffee, spelled BLVCK, because why the hell not? The most delicious cold brewed organic coffee in the damn game. BLVCKbrews.com. Be sure to use checkout code MW for free shipping. This episode is also brought to you by the Jorgensen Cohen 2020 campaign. Joe Jorgensen and I are fighting for a world set free in our time. And this episode, of course, is brought to you by South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster, who everyone knows is a bitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we got to get right into it
Yes.
because we've got a lot to cover and we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, we have an hour because I have a thing that I was booked for at 9:30. I'll be on Liberty Late Night over on Liberty Memes, Liberty Late Night at 9:30. So go ahead.
Opening up, breaking news happened probably about an hour ago now.
This is, of course, the cold brewed black organic coffee, cold brewed caffeinated rapid fire segment brought to you by blackrootbrews.com. Use code MW for free shipping. Go ahead.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away today at the age of 87 due to complications from cancer.
This is possibly the biggest news of the summer.
Yeah. This has changed the scope of the election completely. Yep. This is no longer an election over COVID.
No,
now
this is an election
over the Supreme Court.
The balance of the Supreme Court. And here is the thing, because the balance right now is between Republicrats and Demoblicans. And if there was any wavering on whether or not it is important to vote Libertarian this year, this should drive home how important it is to vote. We can't afford to waste our vote on the same people who have filled the courts with a bunch of activists on both sides. We need a justice who will interpret the Constitution as originally intended. We need an actual originalist, and the only person who's going to appoint an originalist to the Supreme Court is Joe Jorgensen. So rest in peace to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and I will be very interested to see if the Republicans pull the nuclear option and ramrod a replacement through.
What was it last week? Last week, Trump said, "These are my picks." If a Supreme Court Supreme Court spot were to open up, I don't put it past him to try to ram it through in 6 weeks.
I don't see any. There's nothing that I know that any of us know about him that would indicate he'd do anything else. There's no way he's going to say, "Oh, I'll wait till after the election," and there's no way he's going to let the Republicans sit on their hands. If there is any pushback at all, because there doesn't need to be a lot of pushback. It only needs a few senators, but we've seen that the Republican senators, for all their talk, when Trump says jump, they say how high. That includes Rand Paul when push comes to shove.
When push comes to shove, right. But yeah, this absolutely has changed everything. Like, again, Joe Biden, a lot of people make fun of Joe Biden. We do as well. For, he stays in his bunker. He doesn't really take real questions. He answers everything off of the teleprompter, all that. Everybody does it. Now he's going to have to actually go out and campaign somewhat for real. He's going to have to turn what he's been doing and masquerading it as a presidential campaign and campaign for real. Trump's just got to continue being Trump. Like, he's going to be
Trump regardless.
He's going to be Trump regardless.
Yeah, he's going to be Trump regardless.
So, but this is going to change the scope of this entire election between the Dems and the Republicans.
This is going to be a big change. And again, in my completely unbiased opinion, if you want to see any hope of a Supreme Court that's interpreting the Constitution and with any level of originalism instead of just how does this look for the party that appointed me, Joe Jorgensen's the only pick for that. It is what it is. Now, thankfully, what's that?
I was going to say that's if the spot's open in January.
Assuming the spot's open, yeah, because here's the thing. I would. My best guess is that the spot's not going to be open for whoever the next president is. I have a feeling that Trump is going to shove this through hard, and the Republicans are going to do whatever nuclear option they have to get it through. I do not see Trump allowing this to stay on the fringes, and that might. I mean, it might cost him the election. This is interesting stuff.
It could cost him the election, but then he would be able to say that he has a 6-3 Supreme Court. It's really a 5-3 it's a 5-3 with John Roberts, but
5-3-1, yeah.
Right, so 5-3-1 because you don't know which way Roberts is going to vote ever. But that would be his legacy. He would have 30 years of a conservative court after him,
with Zodiac killer Ted Cruz as the next Supreme Court justice. Wild times. Now, thankfully, Joe Biden is taking this very, very seriously. Here's what he had to say about it.
I just have one thing to say. Hang on here.
This is going to be pivotal.
All right.
There you go. Dance a little bit, Joe. Come on.
I'll tell you, my man. I'll tell you what, if I had the talent of any one of these people, I'd be elected president by acclamation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is Joe Biden going to a group of Hispanic reporters and camp activists.
Hispanic Heritage Month.
For Hispanic Heritage Month, and playing Despacito on his phone.
Which, for Joe Biden, that makes a lot of sense that he chose that song.
Oh, yeah.
Because the lyrics of that song, I don't remember them verbatim, but the lyrics of that song are something along the lines, I want to smell your neck slowly and whisper in your ear, something along those lines.
We actually, breaking news, we have the English translated lyrics to Despacito.
And I had a nurse nurses at Walter Reed Hospital who would bend down and whisper in my ear. They'd go home and get me pillows. They would make sure they'd actually, probably nothing ever taught in, you can't do it in the COVID time, but they'd actually breathe in my nostrils to make me move, to get me moving.
Come on, man.
So
come on, man.
This is the actual election. So now, speaking of this,
in all fairness, the moment you became the VP nominee, I knew that this was going to be that kind of election.
Speaking of the moment I became the VP nominee, everything we knew this was going to be this type of election. In Michigan, I was apparently Donald Trump's running mate on like 400 or 500 ballots. They screwed up. And it's interesting because Michigan is one of the states that every single county sent me a ballot proof. And there are 87 counties in Michigan. And I looked at all of them, and none of them had this. None of them had that. And because I would have said, hey, wait a minute, I see something wrong here. Let's see if you can spot it at home. So this was not taken lying down from the Trump camp. Donald Trump came out swinging, saying, and I quote, the Democrat Trump hater Secretary of State of Michigan purposely misprinted ballots for the military, putting the wrong names on the ballot and actually listing a member of another party, it's me, as a replacement for Vice President Mike Pence. Everybody is totally confused by their egregious behavior, which is just the way they want it. This was not a mistake. It was done illegally and on purpose. We want Mike, to which I said, look, pal, I didn't like it either. Here's the thing. I was outraged when I found out about this. The last thing I want is to help Donald Trump's chances of re-election. And when I've talked to a lot of active duty military members, there's a good chance Joe's going to win the active duty military vote outright. So this actually could have helped Trump. So thankfully, it appears that this has been fixed. And it appears this has been fixed. This is the
remember-
kind of election we are facing right now.
Do you remember a couple of weeks ago when I was saying there's a chance that Donald Trump has said your name? And you said, do you think he's heard it? And I said, yeah, at this point he's had to. Well, at this point,
There's
he's
definitely a
said
point.
your name.
I
He's
hope that
definitely said your name.
I will be interested if he goes on a riff about like, what kind of person is named Spike or something like that. But we will see. But this is the kind of year that we already knew we were having. So this
Right.
was your cold brew black organic coffee, cold brew caffeinated rapid fire segment. Now we're going to talk about something that is
Awful.
just beyond awful. And I don't even know how, there is no segue to this. Let's just go ahead with it.
No. So, Holly Barlow-Austen, for anybody that's a member of the Muddied Waters group on Facebook, and if you're not a member, go. I'll probably approve you, especially if you answer the questions.
Yeah, just answer the
but-
questions.
Yesterday, I said that in my 4 years of doing show notes, I've only felt ill once, and it was doing the show prep for this story because this was terrible. Holly Barlow-Austen was arrested for a probation violation April 15th of 2019. She was HIV positive and suffered from bipolar disorder. Now, before she went into jail, her white blood cell count was normal. Blood pressure was in a healthy range. And she went to Texarkana prison, which sits on the border of Texas and the Arkansas.
Arkansas. That's where Ross Perot is from, Texarkana.
Texarkana, yeah. Here's the deal. See,
Can
I finish?
Can I finish?
Can I finish?
Can I finish?
Can I finish?
Can't believe we just did that during this segment.
Yeah, I know. The next morning after she was put in, her blood pressure was 118/73. Now, the blood pressure comes in many times throughout this. Very important to remember. The day on April 16th, her blood pressure was 118/73. Her husband delivered her medications, which included meds for HIV, bipolar disorder, and an antifungal. The jail staff, the Texarkana jail staff, initially withheld some of these medications and only gave her others sporadically in a way to undermine their efficacy, according to a lawsuit that was filed Wednesday. The lawsuit is in the show notes that you can click on down there. She became ill.
I'm going to put that in the actual comment notes so people can see this.
Okay. Well, there's a bunch of stuff down there that I didn't put in to here for us to all watch. Mm-hmm. So if you want to just put all the videos there as well, people will probably want to watch that. And there's a reason I didn't put them in, and I'll explain that when we get there. Holly became ill. She started complaining of headaches, numb legs, and a lump that appeared on her neck. When they took her blood, they found that her white blood cell count had dropped to 87. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, the average white blood cell count for somebody who is healthy is between 500 and 800. That's for healthy adults. Hers had dropped to 87. She started complaining about numb legs, and the jail staff gave her some Tylenol, sent her back to her cell.
Instead of giving her meds.
Instead of giving her the meds that were necessary. They brought her to an outside mental health provider, not a health provider, a mental health provider, who relayed the information to the jail staff that Barlow-Austen had been fainting while in their care. In response, according to the lawsuit, a nurse on staff said that Barlow-Austen pretends to be weak and knows how to play the sickly role. By May 2nd, so the April 15th was the day she went in. Mm-hmm. By May 2nd, so 2 weeks-ish, a little bit over 2.5 weeks, Barlow-Austen's blood pressure had climbed to 160/90. Staff found that she had a UTI, and she complained about headaches, vomiting, blurred vision, and reported that she was fainting frequently.
Because she had untreated HIV and a fungal infection. Yeah.
And there's going to be more that she also gets. She was not taken to a hospital because she plays the sickly role. There is a video of her during this time. The video is in the notes. I think he shared those.
Yeah, I shared them. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to show this video because you get the choice to watch this video. I know that we show a lot of people being shot on this show, but that's really quick. With these videos, you watch Holly Barlow-Austen die slowly over the course of 3 months. And it was brutal to watch. So I wasn't putting that in there. I wasn't going to show it. If you guys want to watch it, you have the information, but I wasn't going to put it up. But the video, one of the videos shows her in distress, emaciated, flailing around on the floor of her jail cell, repeatedly soiling herself. One of the videos shows a staff member setting a styrofoam cup of water in her cell on June 10th, then falling back and holding their nose at the smell emanating from the cell. It was only the second cup of water she'd consumed in 16 hours, according to the complaint. In a video from that same day, she appears to mouth "help me" to 2 female inmates who'd been sent to her cell to clean it. Now, during this entire period of time, her husband was coming to visit her, and they weren't allowing him to. They said that she didn't want to see them when she had been unaware she had visitors and unable to communicate her distress to anybody. Mm-hmm. June 11th, she stopped moving and they transferred her to a hospital. Her blood pressure when taken at the hospital was 177 over 123. Now, back at when she first got there, 160 over 90. I think that's, or sorry, that wasn't it. 118 over 73. 118 over 73. That is pretty healthy. 177 over 123 is no longer, that is beyond exercise level. That is beyond exercise level.
Yep.
On June 13th, 2 days after she left, her husband stopped by to visit her at the jail. They told him she wasn't there, and that was all the information that they could give. They couldn't tell him where she went. They couldn't tell him why she wasn't there anymore. They wouldn't give him any more information other than that. It took him a full day to figure out where she was. He ended up being able to go to the hospital, and on June 17th, she was dead.
By the way, she was on violating probation on a DWI. This wasn't a murder or a rape or a grand theft auto or extort. She was drunk. She's drunk driving. It was a probation violation related to a DUI. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. The cause of death was listed as fungemia sepsis due to fungus, cryptococcal meningitis, yep, HIV/AIDS, and accelerated hypertension. Now, the reason that she violated her probation, according to her family, was for a misdemeanor by deactivating her ankle bracelet and traveling to a rehab facility in nearby Dallas. And then she was jailed when she returned. The woman who was in there for a DWI and was wearing an ankle monitor, actually and she was probably on, it probably wasn't drunk driving, but it was impaired driving. She was probably on drugs because she went to a rehab facility.
Yeah, so it was, she was with DWI and
right,
was trying to get rehab, deactivated her ankle bracelet, and they killed her for it, slowly.
Now, superfan Sarah Anderegg says, I wonder how many things like this happen in the same facility with others. Well, luckily, I have some information on that.
Yeah, turns out, not so rare, Sarah.
Yeah, it's not rare at all. Now, according to a Vice article, this isn't the first time that LaSalle Corp, who runs the Texarkana prison, has been in trouble with this kind of thing. Nurse Dawn Wooten claimed that the detention center performed a staggering number of hysterectomies on immigrant women.
Yep.
She said she'd met 5 women who'd received hysterectomies after being detained between October and December 2019. Now, Dawn Wooten is the same woman who is fighting for the immigrants in the camp in Georgia for the exact same thing that's going on right now. It was in the list of things for us to talk about, and it didn't. It just
went straight into this too. Yep.
Right, because it was just about this, so I figured I could just lump it all together. In 2016, 20-year-old Morgan Angerbauer died of ketoacidosis, a condition which results from high blood sugar. She was denied her insulin to manage her diabetes. In 2015, 35-year-old Michael Sabi, who suffered from diabetes, asthma, and hypertension, told guards at the Bi-State jail that he couldn't breathe. Guards reported him for creating a disturbance by feigning illness and difficulty breathing. Guards threw him on the ground and pepper sprayed him. He was found dead the next morning. Now, a federal magistrate has already found the facility guilty of extreme medical neglect once, but they continue to do it. This is obviously a pattern at this place.
Because they keep getting rewarded new contracts, and their contracts keep getting renewed. So, yeah, they found the facility guilty and they had to pay a fine, but then they keep getting money from the government who keeps contracting this stuff to them. So, and no one goes to jail and no one personally gets sued because of immunity. Because this immunity often extends to people that have federal contracts. You get indemnified against prosecution or against lawsuits for anything that you do. And they know all that. That's why they do this. Because they can. Because it's cheaper to do it this way than it is to just give people their medication. It's cheaper to have bad staff who don't do their job correctly and who consistently do bad things or neglectful things than it is to hire better staff. And they have no reason to hire anyone better because they're indemnified against lawsuits and they continue to get your tax dollars. So why would they? Now, you may say because a decent human being wouldn't do such a thing. You're right. That doesn't answer why they wouldn't do it.
Right.
They're in the business of putting people in prisons and using them for free prison labor for profit. These are modern day slave masters. Of course, normal, good people wouldn't do this.
And again, I have been doing this show for almost 4 years now. In December, it'll be 4 years that this show has been on the air, and I have been doing the notes for probably 95% of them. This is the first time that I have done notes that I legitimately felt a knot in my stomach. There have been times I've been upset and I've been depressed. This one made me feel literally ill.
This is disgusting.
And it's disgusting. And when you watch the videos of Holly, you watch her over the course of 3 months. Over the course of 3 months, you watch her just degrade as an individual. And she was in there on a DWI and she got busted for a parole violation while she was going to rehab, trying to seek help for the issue that she had.
Yep.
And they just threw her in there and they just stopped caring about her right then.
This is what the war on drugs and punitive justice and the indemnification against lawsuits for large crony corporations leads to. It leads to people in cages slowly dying for completely preventable things. For anyone watching this who has a chronic illness that is treated by regular use of medication, imagine if you're in a cage that you can't get out of and you beg people to let you get medication that was brought there for you to be able to take, and they tell you that you're creating a disturbance while you slowly die over the course of months. That's what Holly went through. That is what your government does because they can.
And again, she went in April 15th, white blood cell count normal, blood pressure normal. When at the end, her white blood cell count was at most 87 because that was the last one that they kind of reported on, and her blood pressure was 177 over 123.
Yep.
Which
is like running at 177 over 123 is like running at top speed until you can't anymore. And if you look, by the way, if you look at cause of death was fungemia, sepsis due to fungus, cryptococcal meningitis, her body went haywire because she wasn't getting the antivirals and the antifungals that she needs to keep her HIV infections and subsequent secondary infections at bay. This was completely and totally preventable. Her condition was held at bay because she, on a regular, probably many time a day basis, got antiretrovirals for her HIV and antifungals for her secondary infections. Because when you have HIV, even if you're able to keep it at bay, sometimes you also then have secondary infections because you're more prone to regular infections like fungal infections, UTIs, and things like that. This was completely preventable. And the reason she was having like neurological stuff was because it went to her brain because they weren't giving her her meds that her husband had brought. Now imagine being the other person. Imagine being for those of you who are the loved one of someone with a chronic condition, or can just imagine being in that situation. Imagine that your loved one, your spouse, your significant other, is in a cage and they won't let you visit that person, and they say you don't want to see them. And then you find out they're dead, and then you see these videos. And we're not showing you those videos on the show. The links are on there if you want to see them. We didn't show George Floyd, and we aren't showing this, because it's one thing to show, someone getting shot really quickly, even in a gruesome way. It's another thing to watch someone slowly get killed, and this is about as slow as it gets. This is slow torture.
It is, and I watched 15, 20 minutes of these videos, and I watched them all because if there was something on there that I thought that everybody should see, I was going to show it. There was no way I was going to do it. I was not going to do that to you. If you want to do it to yourself, go ahead, but I'm not doing it.
If you need to see it, then it's on there. But
right. I even now, it still gives me this guttural, just awful feel in my stomach because I know what's on that video. You watch her deteriorate over the course of 3 months.
No.
It's just
It is beyond disgusting. And of course, the answers are clear. And the war on drugs, and punitive justice for victimless crimes, and I won't even say DWI is a victimless crime, but there was a way to treat this that wasn't putting someone in a cage. There are ways to deal with these things without putting them in cages, especially when we see that this is how they're treated when they're in those cages. That needs to end. Imprisonment needs to be exclusively for people who are a threat to the public safety. Rapists, murderers, kidnappers, people like that. Not someone who had a drunk driving incident and or a intoxicated driving incident and is now trying to get clean. That's not how you deal with that. And these types of facilities need to be completely shut down, and we need to completely relook how we are treating people that fall outside of the margins of the law and of public safety and so forth. And this ain't it. This isn't the way to do it. Now, thankfully, the U.S. government is focusing on threats like this by banning TikTok.
Real quick, a real breaking story that just came out.
Okay.
Well, going along with the original breaking story. Senate Majority, this is from Fox News. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said unequivocally that President Trump's Supreme Court nominee will to fill the vacancy of late Justice RBG will receive a vote on the floor of the U.S. Senate.
Oh, of course. Yeah, there was no way. There was no way that they were going to.
I figured they'd wait a day.
No. That all of the pretend. The one good thing about Donald Trump is he has completely done away with the fake decorum in D.C. the idea that there's any kind of respect for the office or for the people or for the consent of the governed or anything like that. That's all out the window. Donald Trump governs the way he talks about governing, and he makes people intentionally and with and overtly govern the way they've been governing all along, but without all of the pomp and circumstance behind it. He very much is like, this is how I want to do it, so this is how it's going to be done. I don't care what the law is. I don't care what how things are normally done or anything else. I'm just going to do it this way. Doesn't really matter what the Constitution says. This is a man who wrote a spending bill as a regulation. He just wrote a bill that creates a spending program, an unemployment program, including directing states how to spend their money by executive order. So, of course, he would do this. It makes perfect sense that he would do this.
And another executive order. He did the TikTok.
Yep. Speaking of just blatant violations of people's rights, he banned TikTok. So the U.S. Commerce Department on Friday said that it will ban Chinese-owned TikTok and WeChat from U.S. app stores on Sunday, and will saddle the apps with technical restrictions that could seriously limit their functionality in the U.S.
Yep. After weeks of deals being made by U.S. companies trying to purchase the U.S.-based version of TikTok, they especially what's the company? Oracle. Oracle is a company that's like the leader for buying TikTok. The news came as a huge surprise to them because they thought that they had a deal kind of in place and that they were going to start taking it over, but no,
because Donald Trump decided he doesn't like it.
In all fairness, they still could take it over. But they are banning all new downloads.
On Sunday, the app will no longer be available for download in the Apple App Store and on Google Play. The full ban will go through on November 12th. And then there will be a government takeover of its U.S. operations because, we have a constitutionally limited government that...
No, sorry, I miswrote that.
Okay.
Because Oracle is trying to take over.
Okay.
That's why they're waiting till November 12th. If they don't, that's when the full ban goes in effect.
Okay.
Should they do it, it's going to be back. Should the deal with Oracle and TikTok go through, they are going to re-allow downloads.
So this is just like a shakedown that they have to take the deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is even better. So nothing actually changes here except who owns the company. For those who know the background here, the data isn't even held in China right now. It's held in other countries.
Except for the Chinese data.
The Chinese TikTok data is in China, but the international TikTok data is in like Singapore or something like that. It is no more or less susceptible to Chinese government spying than Facebook or WhatsApp or YouTube or anything else. Anything that can be anything, eBay, Amazon, Netflix, whatever. It's no more or less in tune. They have said multiple times that the government has claimed it's the Chinese government, that they have not presented any evidence or any reason to believe such. This was they pissed off Donald Trump back with the Tulsa rally, those K-pop kids with Operation Lincoln, pretending that they were going to go to his rally, and then no one showed up, or very few people showed up. That's all this is. This is Donald Trump is punishing them by saying you can't own it anymore. And it wasn't even them that did it. It was some kids using it that did it. So he's telling the owners of it, you can't own it anymore. It has to be owned by one of the crony companies that puts money in my pocket for my re-election campaign.
Right. Now, Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross says the only real change as of Sunday night for TikTok will be that users won't have access to improved apps, updated apps, upgraded apps, or maintenance, which means your app is slowly going to get worse and worse and be more susceptible to people hacking it.
Like China.
Right.
We're so worried about Chinese hacking that we're going to take one of the most popular apps and make it so that no one can get security updates to it until November.
Right.
That'll show them.
That'll show them good. Now, TikTok obviously thinks that this is unjust. as many of us probably do.
As one
Vanessa
would, yeah.
Vanessa Pappas, who is the interim head of TikTok in the U.S., said in a Twitter post, "This type of ban would be bad for the industry. We invite Facebook and Instagram to publicly join our challenge and support our litigation.
Will not happen.
Right now, this is a moment to put aside our competition and focus on core principles like freedom of expression and due process." Now, granted, we see the irony of a social media company saying that they want freedom of expression and due process. We see the irony.
We see the irony there.
However, since we are logically consistent, I agree.
And Facebook
TikTok,
and YouTube aren't going to do a damn thing about that. No one, Google, Instagram, none of them are going to join this.
They'll send like their condolences, and
thoughts
like,
and prayers. Those thoughts and prayers.
They're gonna give them the techie version of thoughts and prayers.
Hashtag we are TikTok, and then watch this all happen and not do a thing.
They're going to give them data and bits.
Data and bits. Ones and zeros.
Ones and zeros.
Ones and zeros. Sending
TikTok,
you ones and zeros.
TikTok, which is owned by China's ByteDance, collects user data and moderates user posts, just like every single social media company out there.
Yeah, it gets their location info and messages, tracks what they want to what they watch, and figure out how to best target ads to them. That's what Facebook is doing to you right now, this very second. Literally.
Whichever platform you are watching us on, unless you're watching us on Float, FLOTE.app. If you're watching us there, they aren't doing that. Everywhere else.
Quick shout out to Float. If you want to watch us without having your social media platform spy on you, for advertising revenue,
go over there.
Float.app, FLOTE.app/MuddyWatersMedia, or download the Float app.
Right. The administration has absolutely provided no specific information
at all
on that. TikTok has made user data available to the Chinese government. Several cybersecurity experts are questioning whether the administration's efforts are more political efforts against China than tied to concerns about data security. And yes, they are. It's not about data security. It's about China.
If they had proof, we'd be seeing it every single day. There is no proof. They have nothing. They're just flexing their muscles against China because TikTok is a Chinese-based company. Not a Chinese government-owned company, a Chinese-based company that is very successful. They've basically taken Vine and changed it somewhat, and that's what it is. But it's working.
Essentially,
it's working, and people like it. The kids love it.
People love it.
People love it. The kids love it. And it does not store U.S. user data in China. I believe it's in Singapore. They said that they don't give user data to the Chinese government. And we know that they don't censor videos. They censor Chinese videos, but they do not censor videos outside of China. There were many Hong Kong protesters that were using TikTok as one of their preferred platforms, spreading anti-Chinese government sentiment and anti-Hong Kong government sentiment left and right. Then TikTok did nothing.
Right. The measures announced Friday will ban the transferring of funds or processing. They also announced that they will ban the transferring or funds processing through WeChat, which I've never actually heard of.
I've heard of it, but I have no idea what it is.
Right. Apparently it's like a WhatsApp, but it's big in China, and a lot of people use it to chat with people in China, like business people chat with other business people in China. But no more funds or processing through WeChat in the US starting Sunday, and bar any company from offering hosting, content delivery networks, or internet transit to WeChat. So WeChat's just getting the full-on axe. That's gone.
I was going to say, that sounds even way worse than what TikTok's going through.
Because, well, if Oracle wasn't attempting to buy TikTok, I bet that's what we would get, because that's what's going to happen to TikTok November 12th if Oracle doesn't get them.
which is basically a stick and carrot to TikTok to go through, which also, by the way, gives leverage to the companies that are American companies trying to buy TikTok. Well, you have to go with one of us or you're going to lose everything. This is This is extortion. This is a straight up extortion of crony businesses leveraging federal government to make it easier for them to become bigger. When we talk about the kinds of regulations and actions that make it so that the social media is a closed loop and new innovative competitors can't come in, this is precisely what we're talking about.
Yep. WeChat users have sued to stop the ban. Federal judge in California appeared sympathetic to WeChat users in a hearing, but did not issue an injunction against the government because, well, he's part of it.
And it's arguable whether, I mean, there are times that when these things happen, the U.S. government will argue that the courts don't even have jurisdiction because they're happening in foreign countries. But if they have a U.S.-based company, then they would have jurisdiction. But we saw that with and this was a criminal matter with the lawsuits against in Gitmo, where the U.S. government claimed that U.S. courts had no jurisdiction because it wasn't in the U.S. It was on a U.S. base, but it wasn't in the U.S. And the court said, yeah, we don't have jurisdiction. The U.S. government can do whatever it wants there, which is a complete blatant misreading of how jurisdiction works, but that's what they did. Now, the Justice Department has said that they won't go after WeChat users with any penalties for using the app for messaging. But if you kill the beast itself, eventually it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, it doesn't matter anymore.
They can't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to be able to use it anyway.
They won't be able to use it. They're just saying they're not going to sue. They're not going to sue or imprison anyone who has it on their phone, basically, because then that would actually cause some popular uprising. This is a perfect example of what we talk about with government, that it uses its power to enrich itself and the cronies that bought and paid for them to be in office. It will not end voting for Trump. We saw that. This is happening under Trump. It will not end voting for Biden. This stuff happened with Biden in the White House right next to Barack Obama. It will not happen from voting Republican, period. This is what you get from Republicans. There are Republicans and Democrats working together in the Department of Justice right now to do this. Department of Commerce and Department of Justice are working hand in hand to do this, and this kind of stuff happens until we vote for people who are going to end this. That starts when we vote Libertarian. We vote Libertarian, we get rid of these folks, and we take the power back and give it back to the people so that this kind of stuff doesn't happen in the first place. This kind of stuff is how Facebook can tell you what you can and can't say, and how YouTube can tell you what you can and can't say, and how Twitter can tell you that what you can and can't say, because they know that there's really only a few options. You can't really go to anyone else, because if they get big enough, this will happen to them. They'll be labeled a foreign spy, and then they'll be put out of business. So,
In other news, you and I apparently look amazing on a 70-inch TV.
That's fantastic.
That is fantastic. I mean, we look good on no matter what size screen it is.
Well, it's
and
just,
in this case, bigger might be better in this case.
Here's the thing: the bigger it is, the bigger we are, the more of us you can see, the better. So that would make sense. I bet even better would be on an 80-inch TV.
Probably.
So, good news. Good news on the Jorgensen-Cohen front. I will be I am actually filling in for Joe on part of her leg of the tour on the 22nd. I will be in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. On the 23rd, I will be in Fargo, North Dakota. On the 24th, I will be in Duluth, Minnesota. On the 25th, I will be in Minneapolis, Minnesota. On the 26th, I will be in Manhattan. On the 27th, I will be in... Where will I be in Manhattan? Anyway, moving forward from there, I will be in multiple different locations, and I don't have that up right now. But stay tuned on my social media. Go to Spike Cohen on Facebook, on Twitter, on whatever else. Go to joe20.com and look in the events, and you will see where I will be over the next few weeks. But I am going to be hitting the trail, starting in the Dakotas and Minnesota, then working my way through the Northeast. And then the second part of my bus tour starting on October 7th in beautiful Delaware, Dover, Delaware. And then moving south from there, I will be working my way through beautiful the Southeast.
I don't know if we have anybody that watches our show from Delaware, but anytime somebody is like, I'm here in beautiful Delaware, I think of the Wayne's World thing, the Wayne's World bit where they were.
Oh, yeah, for the ad for Delaware?
We're here in
Delaware.
Delaware.
Beautiful Delaware.
Good old Delaware.
Good old Delaware.
So the 22nd, you're going to be where?
In Sioux Falls, South Dakota, back on the bus for 3 days.
Gotcha. And will we be having a show?
Yeah. I will find out. Because I don't know if they have a specific time yet. But I will know. I will tell you as soon as I know.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Let me know before Monday.
I will. I will let you know. I should know. They may already have an actual time, and if not, then I will find out on tomorrow.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Perfect.
Then I'll know whether or not to do the notes. And I'm assuming for an hour since you're going to be on the bus.
We will. We will see how that works out. But I will let you know as soon as I do. Brandy Carter, I will be in Virginia Beach on the 8th. And then I'll be in Charlotte on the 9th, I think. I'm going to be in a lot of places, and it's hard to keep track
I was going to say, you're moving around a lot.
I'm moving around fast. And in different ways. I'm on a bus, then I'm flying, then I'm back on a bus, then I'm flying again. There's just a lot of stuff happening. I'm going a lot of places.
Now, for anybody that's going to see Spike at any of these events, the only place that you can really get Spike merch is from our store. So you should all go there and buy a bunch of Spike merch and Muddied Waters Media merch and whatever else other merch we have out there.
MuddiedWatersMedia.com and press the store button.
Right. And press that store button.
Press that store
I'm not
button.
going to say that link. Also, if anybody out there wants an exclusive, You Are the Power, I forgot what it said. You Are the Power Spike Cohen bracelet. PayPal. Send $5 via PayPal to muddiedwatersmedia@gmail.com. If you want 4 bracelets, send us $15. If you want a patch that looks a lot like that thing right there, or the thing that's on my shirt, basically it looks exactly like it, send another $15 and I'll send you one of those as well. And you can be like vying for superfan Meg Jones and have all of the Muddied Waters merch. We also have that Spike Cohen hat with the Muddied Waters patch on it, autographed by both of us. And when we auction that hat off, I've got some big news. When we auction that hat off, we are going to have another hat. Spike doesn't even know this yet. A Taxation is Theft hat from Dan Berman.
Ooh.
Autographed by me and Spike, and I have not decided if a patch is going on it yet, but it will be a Taxation is Theft hat autographed by yours truly and his truly.
Guy on right.
Guy on right and guy on left.
Guy on left and guy on right will be signing a Dan Berman special Taxation is Theft hat, possibly with a Muddy Waters Media thing on it as well.
And Edie Jones, you got 4. I know you said, I hope you only sent 1. No, you got 4. And it is going to be going out in the mail on Monday. But I've already sealed the envelope, so you're getting 4.
So a random question here. if you could live in the most libertarian state, which would it be and why is that your choice? Gosh, I mean, depending on who you ask, the most libertarian states are all kind of like north, which are cold.
Florida is ranked as the #1 free state in the nation.
By who?
I think it was by fee.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And that's even warmer than here.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot warmer than there. It's brutally hot. But yeah,
it's like
Florida,
painful hot. Yeah.
It is painfully hot. Like it's going to be 82 on Wednesday, and I've never been so excited for anything in my life.
Jacob LaBelle, the fish was fantastic. It was great. It was very, very good. I'm now imprinted to Jacob LaBelle because he brought me smoked fish when I went to Burnsville. And Alex says Arizona. Arizona is a beautiful state. Phoenix, Tempe area, absolutely beautiful. I am not used to it being like a hairdryer blowing in my face outside at night. That was different. Of course, I was also there in August or
in February
or September. During a
I was in there in February and it was brutally hot.
It was still hot there. Okay, well then people were saying, "Oh, it's just the time of year." It's like, okay. It was pretty rough. But it was beautiful, and I had a great crowd that came. One of the biggest crowds that came out for any of my events. Hundreds of people came out, and it did. When it cooled down, it was a little bit nicer the second night. But gosh, 110 that night, blowing, and they're like, "Oh, but it's breezy." That didn't help. Just meant it blew hard, feeling in my teeth. It's pretty rough. So, folks, I actually have to head over to Liberty Light Night, and I'll be sharing that on my Spike Cohen page. I'll be heading over to Liberty Late Night in just a few minutes, so check us out there. Matt, if someone were to try to find us on the internet, how would they even do that?
I would highly recommend that for all of you old school people who really enjoy going to just hearing our sweet, buttery, soulful voices, heading over to anchor.fm/muddied-waters, where you can do things like leave us questions that on shows that are longer than this, we will play the questions and play them live on the air. You can also donate to us and allow us to keep making the high quality content that you have come to know and love and is great for the entire family. Please don't quote me on that. You can also find this and every other episode at muddiedwatersmedia.com.
That's fantastic. Also, I just looked. Apparently, it's the show. It's at 9:45, not at 9:30. So I can actually like eat something in between the show.
Real quick about eating something. I'm about to have my very first Rosh Hashanah dinner. I know it's late.
Lashana Tova, everyone. Happy Jewish New Year. The one that counts.
I'm getting a brisket, matzo ball soup, a side, I don't know, and apples and honey are somehow involved.
Yeah, apples and honey. Oh. I had apples and honey earlier, but I didn't have matzo ball soup.
Yeah, I'm really looking for. I have come to love matzo ball soup. And the brisket, I'm just really looking forward to that.
I bet Sarah's matzo ball soup's really good.
It's really good. It is really good. It is really, really good. But hey, it's the end. Is today like New Year's Eve or is it New Year's Day?
So technically, our days start the previous night at sundown the previous night. So like our Saturday started when it got dark out.
When the sun went down.
So it's technically New Year's Day. Okay. So yesterday was New Year's Eve.
So happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Happy New Year in Jewish. Happy New Year in Jewish. And where we're going,
we don't need roads.
I learned a lot. And I learned a lot. Anyway, Bo is associated here. Anyway, the point I want to make is I learned so much. I learned so much. I learned.
Black, white, all colors, all backgrounds, what I mean.
Come on, man.
Men, women, gay, straight, everyone deserves a shot, you know.
Come on, man. You know the thing.
You know what I mean?
You know the thing.
You know what I mean?
Come on, man.
What I have to do is I have to continue talking about the things that
Come on, man. I came down here because I remember the first bumper sticker I saw. I learned that I got hairy legs that turned blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight and then watch the hair come back up again. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. I love kids jumping on my lap.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
What are we, nuts? Dead.
You know.
Come on, man. Give me a little break here. Get a life.
Taking cocaine or not?
What do you think? Huh? Come on, man.
Black, white, all colors, all backgrounds, what I mean.
Come on, man.
Men, women, gay, straight, everyone deserves a shot, you know.
Come on, man. You know the thing.
You know what I mean?
You know the thing.
You know what I mean?
Come on, man. You have a problem figuring out whether you're from me or Trump, and you ain't black. Come on, man. The Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
I can hardly wait to meet with that guy who is the stable genius.
Come on, man.
I am very willing to let the public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness.
Come on, man.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Wealthy kids. Come on, man.
I mean, come on. Take a look at the record. I know a lot of weed smokers.
Come on, man.
Black, white, all colors, all backgrounds, what I mean.
Come on, man.
Men, women, gay, straight, everyone deserves a shot, you know.
Come